Hey everyone, we are working to hit 1,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy the content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
Look at that. Look at that ball. That right there is why Cincinnati is one of the most dangerous offenses in the entire NFL heading into 2026, and we haven't even kicked off a single regular season game yet. I'm Dre. This is Dre Talk Sports, and today we are doing something a little different. We are going deep into the numbers. We are putting ourselves on record early. We are playing over-under on the Cincinnati Bengals 2026 season, and by the time this video is done, you are going to know exactly where this team is headed, what the real expectations should be, and which players are about to take massive steps forward. 10 lines, 10 predictions, no hedging. Let's go. Let's start where every Bengals conversation has to start. Joe Burrow, passing touchdowns, over-under, set at 44 and a half. Now on the surface, that number looks aggressive. His career high is 43 touchdowns, set in a fully healthy 2024 season across 16 games. But here is what people are not factoring in enough. Burrow has publicly stated he wants to chase down the franchise record and get to 50 touchdowns in a single season. 50. That is not a shy goal. That is a statement from a quarterback who has seen what this offense is capable of when everything is clicking and who genuinely believes the ceiling has not been reached yet. The case for going over 44 and a half starts with this rebuilt defense. When Cincinnati's defense is forcing stops and putting the offense in positive game scripts, meaning the Bengals are leading, the game is competitive, Burrow is in rhythm rather than in desperation mode. He throws more touchdowns. Simple as that. Add Jamar Chase in his absolute prime. T. Higgins healthy and motivated. Chase Brown as a legitimate receiving threat out of the backfield. Mike Gesicki in the red zone, and an offensive line that returned all 5 starters. This offense has more weapons than almost any unit in football right now. Dre's call? Over. Just barely. Burrow gets to 45, maybe 46 if the schedule sets up the way it looks on paper. The touchdowns are coming. Now let's talk about the best receiver in the NFL, Jamar Chase. Receiving yards. Over-under at 1350 and a half. Chase posted 1,412 receiving yards in 2025, his second consecutive season over 1,400. He led the entire NFL in targets with 185 looks. That is an absolutely monstrous workload. And the question the line is asking is whether that workload is sustainable, or whether a more balanced Bengals offense naturally pulls some of that production away from him. Here is the honest argument for the under, and I mean this as a compliment to the team, not a knock on Chase. If this defense is genuinely better, if Chase Brown is pounding the ball for 1,200 yards on the ground, if T. Higgins stays healthy for a full 17 games, the Bengals simply do not need to feed Jamar Chase 185 targets again to win football games. They won 7 games last year in a bad team with bad game scripts. Imagine what a healthy, balanced Bengals offense looks like when they are up 2 scores in the fourth quarter and just running the clock out. Chase sees fewer targets. His yards naturally dip. Dre's call? Reluctant under. Not because Chase gets worse, he is still the best receiver in football, but because this team gets better around him. I think he lands somewhere around 1,250 to 1,300 yards. And that would actually be a sign that Cincinnati took a major step forward as a complete team. Next up, Chase Brown. Rushing yards, over-under at 1,100 and a half. Brown ran for over 1,000 yards last year, 1,019 to be exact, and he did it on a 6-11 team in negative game scripts, with a backup quarterback starting multiple games, in situations where opposing defenses knew the run was coming and still could not stop him consistently. Think about what that same player looks like behind a fully returning offensive line, with Burrow healthy all year, with defenses having to respect the passing game on every single down. The conditions are dramatically better in 2026. The case for the under is really just the idea that if Burrow is throwing 50 touchdowns, somebody has to be passing the ball a lot, which means fewer rushing attempts by definition. But Dre does not buy that framing. Passing touchdowns and a strong rushing attack are not mutually exclusive. The best offenses in NFL history have had both. Dre's call? Over. Chase Brown hits 1,200 yards this season. The offensive line returning intact is the biggest factor here. A full season of continuity up front means more creases, more second-level gains, and more late-game clock-chewing situations where Brown gets the ball handed to him with the game already won. Now, let's get into the defensive over-unders. because this is where the real intrigue lives for Cincinnati in 2026. Cassius Howe, sacks, over-under, at 7.5. Howe is a rookie edge rusher who posted 11.5 sacks in college at the SEC level. The average second-round edge rusher in the NFL produces somewhere between 5 and 6 sacks in year one. So, the line at 7.5 is asking you to believe Howe outperforms the average rookie edge rusher by a significant margin right out of the gate. The case for over is the environment around him. Dexter Lawrence is in the building now, drawing double teams. Jonathan Allen is drawing attention inside. Boye Mafe and Miles Murphy are on the other side, demanding respect. When you surround a pass rusher with that much interior talent and that much edge competition, one-on-one blocking situations become available. The case for under is simply the adjustment period. The best defensive tackles in the SEC are nowhere near the best offensive tackles in the NFL. The game is faster, the schemes are more complex, and even elite talents sometimes need a season to find their footing. Dre's call? Over, but just barely. Howe gets 8 sacks this year. The mentality is too strong, and the environment is too good to bet against him. Keep a close eye on this man because there is a real world where he is in the Defensive Rookie of the Year conversation by December. Dexter Lawrence. Pressures. Over-under at 45.5. Lawrence generated 34 pressures last season, which was a down year by his standards. His peak was 57 pressures in 2023 before injuries derailed him. Now he is healthy, motivated, in a new scheme, and according to multiple analysts who have studied his usage, the Bengals plan to deploy him in ways that maximize his impact rather than just parking him as a straight-up bull rusher. The case for over is obvious. Healthy Dexter Lawrence chasing a contract year statement season is a terrifying proposition for any offensive line. The case for under is the double-team reality. When you are the most feared interior pass rusher on a defense that also features Cassius Howe and Miles Murphy on the edges, opposing offensive coordinators are going to scheme to take you away. Double teams will be constant. Dre's call? Under, but grudgingly. 42 to 44 pressures. That is still 10 more than he had last year, and more than enough to terrorize quarterbacks all season long. And the beautiful thing about those double teams is what they mean for everybody else on this defensive front. When two blockers go to Lawrence, somebody else is winning one-on-one. That is how championship defenses work. Miles Murphy, sacks, over-under at 7.5. Murphy posted 5.5 sacks in 2025, his career best, including 3 sacks in the final 4 games of the season. The momentum was real. Now he is in a contract year with his 5th-year option declined, playing alongside the best interior defensive line he has ever had, against a schedule that is generally considered softer than what Cincinnati faced last season. The case for over is simple. He is motivated, the environment is elite, and a 3-sack stretch in 4 games extrapolated across a full season looks like somewhere between 12 and 14 sacks. The case for under is that 5.5 was already the best he has ever done, and doubling career production in one season is a heavy ask for any player. Dre's call? Over. 8 sacks for Miles Murphy this year. Contract year motivation is the most powerful force in professional football, and Murphy is going to spend every single snap this season auditioning for his next deal. Now let us talk about the roster battles, because this is where the fun prediction drama lives. Colby Young, receiving yards, over-under at 450.5. The line is set just above what Andre Iosivas Yoshi produced in 2025. Young is a rookie with freakish athleticism, comparable physically to T. Higgins in terms of his frame and his movement skills. The case for over is that his physical tools show up fast, and he takes the starting job from Yoshi midseason and runs with it. The case for under is the rookie learning curve, the injury he is coming back from, and the fact that Yoshi is already established in this system and gets the benefit of the doubt heading into camp. Dre's call? Under. Young probably lands between 350 and 400 yards in year one. But here is the silver lining. I think Colby Young takes that starting job sometime before the season ends, and in year 2, we are having a completely different conversation about this player's ceiling. Tycario Davis starts, over-under at 6.5. Davis is behind Cam Taylor-Britt and Dax Hill on the depth chart at cornerback. Getting to 7 or more starts means either injury to one of those starters or Al Golden making a deliberate choice to get Davis on the field because he has simply outperformed the competition in practice and preseason. The case for over is that Taylor-Britt and Hill are both in contract years, which sometimes leads to load management and nagging injury situations. The case for under is that both of those guys are legitimate NFL starters who earn their snaps every single week. Dre's call? Under. Davis gets 3 or 4 starts in year 1. Year 2 is when you start seriously talking about him as a potential starter. But watch training camp closely, because that story could change fast. Demetrius Knight, tackles, over-under at 95.5. Knight made 106 tackles as a rookie last year, impressive on the surface, but important context here. He was making those tackles in a terrible defense, behind a defensive line that was getting pushed around, in a secondary that was constantly beaten. He was cleaning up messes. Now that same player plays behind Dexter Lawrence, Jonathan Allen, and a rebuilt defensive front that should be keeping runners from even reaching the second level as often. Fewer bad defensive situations means fewer tackling opportunities, which is actually a sign that the defense is performing better. The case for over is that Knight himself takes a huge developmental leap and becomes a proactive playmaker rather than a reactive cleanup guy. The case for under is simple math. A better defense means fewer plays reach the linebacker level. Dre's call? Over, but just slightly. Knight gets somewhere around 100 tackles on the strength of his own improvement. He is going to be a better linebacker in year 2, regardless of everything happening around him. Now let us close this out the right way, because this is where Dre lays it all on the line. Season record predictions, broken into 3 acts. Act 1, the first 5 weeks before the bye, over-under at 3 wins. This is the hardest line on the board. 3 feels exactly right, which makes it maddening to pick against. The Bengals have games against the Jaguars at home, Dolphins on the road, and the Steelers on the road in this stretch, plus tougher matchups against the Texans. Dre's call? Over. The Bengals have games against the Jaguars. 4 wins before the bye. This defense is improved enough to steal 1 game the old version of this team would have dropped. Act 2. Weeks 7 through 12. 6 games. Over-under at 3.5 wins. You have the Ravens on the road, the Titans at home, Falcons in Madrid, the Steelers at home on Sunday Night Football, the Commanders on Monday Night Football, and the Saints at home. The soft games in this stretch are the Titans, Falcons, and Saints. Dre's call? Over. 4 wins in this stretch. The primetime home game record under this coaching staff is elite, and that Steelers Sunday night game at home is practically a gimme on paper. Act 3. Weeks 13 through 18, over-under at 3.5 wins. You have the Chiefs at home in December, the Ravens on Thursday Night Football, plus the Browns twice, and the Panthers and Colts. The toughest games are Kansas City and Baltimore. Dre's call? Over again. 4 wins to close the year. The Panthers and both Browns games are very winnable. You might drop the Chiefs game and split with Baltimore and still come out ahead. Add it all up. 4 wins in Act 1, 4 wins in Act 2, 4 wins in Act 3, and Dre is calling a 12-5 season for the Cincinnati Bengals in 2026. AFC North champions. Home playoff game. And if that defense performs the way this roster is built to perform, a legitimate Super Bowl run that this city has been waiting on for years. The window is open. The pieces are in place. And Burrow being healthy changes everything. That is the full breakdown, and Dre has gone on record. Now it is your turn. Smash that like button right now, because this kind of early season analysis does not happen anywhere else on this platform. Drop your Bengals win total prediction in the comments. Are you riding with 12-5, or do you think this team goes higher? I want every single take down below. No filter, no excuses. And if you are not subscribed to Dre Talk Sports yet, fix that right now. Hit that subscribe button, turn the notifications on, and stay locked in because the OTA reports are coming. Training camp is right around the corner, and we are going to be all over this Bengals season from day one. Dre out.